This is the Jez and Friends podcast. Don't forget to like and follow. And also, just chuck us a follow at Jez and Friends Instagram. Welcome to episode 2 of today's podcast. Today's special guest is Dylan Page, so give him a warm welcome. We're going to be covering many topics, including how we won a premiership together, basketball, footy, sports in general, and some funny stories. Now let's get started.
You see people not always following rules and stuff, but I think it's in demand that we do follow the rules, that everybody wears a mask. We just need to get the sort of issue solved and over with. It's like, as you saw a couple of days ago, there's 700 new cases, but slowly the cases have been dropping. But I think everybody just needs to stay safe, pray for others,
That's same as me, I reckon. Pretty huge issue right now, so stay at your home, try and stop the spread. So do you recommend any songs, artists, books right now, for viewers out there?
Look, honestly, I recommend this podcast because I listened to the Jack episode and it was quite good. In my personal opinion. Artists, honestly, my taste is a little different. I listen to some older people, sometimes like Fetty Wap and all of them, some Park as well. But honestly, it's up to you guys what you want to listen to. For my taste, is usually Fetty Wap, Bryson Tiller, and some other guys like that. Book-wise, I haven't been reading too many books. I stick to more the genre of sports though, so any sports book, in my opinion, is quite a good book.
Fair enough. Any any sports books you've been read in the past?
I read a Robert Murphy biography, and that was a really good book. It sort of dives into his sort of backstory, how he was brought up into football, the challenges he faces, and it's really good for young football players to sort of get a greater understanding of how the sport works, what the mental and physical tasks you have to go through.
Yeah, we love footy on the podcast.
We love footy.
Yeah, so have you learned anything interesting about yourself recently? And any interesting stories about yourself?
Not much. Honestly, I've just been sort of sticking to more of what I've been doing. So I've started training over this period. So I've been doing a lot more weightlifting, and I've increased my strength and my physique a lot.
Yep.
So compared to before we went into quarantine for the first time, I weighed about 78 kg, and then I lost a lot of muscle. I lost about 3 kilograms of muscle. And then with this last month of working out, I've gained another 5 kg. So I'm sitting at a 38 kilograms. And I've grown a lot. At the start of this year, I sat about 5'10", and now I'm personally 6'1".
Fucking hell, yeah. That's pretty
good. I've grown, I've put on a lot more weight, I'm a lot physically stronger as well.
Yeah, so for short people like me, any advice on growing? People drink lots of milk, or what's your take on this?
Well, personally, I sleep a lot. I'm sleeping on a holiday. On the holidays is my maximum time. That's when I try to get a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm sleeping probably 12 to 10 hours a week on the holidays. I eat a lot as well. I eat a lot. I can't stress enough how important it is to eat a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, and some snacks midway through the day. You want to get a lot of protein and carbs in there as well. So personally, that's just what I do. I sleep and I eat a lot.
Lots of pasta, mate?
Pardon?
Lots of pasta?
Yeah, I have probably 2 servings of pasta a week as well.
Fuck, yeah. That's a lot, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on from that, what is your favourite sporting moment and why?
My personal favourite sporting moment, I'd have to say, for a viewer of sport, It would have been in 2016 when the Western Bulldogs broke their drought of a premiership. As we all know, that was quite a famous season.
Yeah, I was there that day, mate. Fuck, it's amazing.
That's a really inspiring moment to see Robert Murphy sort of get his premiership, even though he wasn't playing, still awarded with that medal. For all Western fans, that was just a great moment. As a player of sports, I have two personally. One of which was when you and I, Jerry, in 2016, won our first premiership.
Mate.
Undefeated the entire season, walked into that game confident, and we just smashed them.
Yeah, that was amazing, mate.
Yeah, my second one would have been actually my first game of grading basketball. That first game sort of opened me to like how I've got to work. Like it's not like footy where I've been brought up in it. I'm very talented at it.
That's true.
With basketball, I have to relearn everything. It's a new start. I'm not going to be one of the best players on the pitch or on the court. And from there, that day, I found a new love for a different sport.
Yeah. Do you still have your premiership medal around, mate?
I'd have to look. I might find it at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I know it's in a stack with a whole load of little ribbons from.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I was going to flex it to viewers who haven't won a premiership. So maybe at the end of a podcast we'll both do that. So
I can name one person in particular. We're both on our lines.
Yeah, who is it?
Mate, no names need to be said in this podcast, but
Jack named a few, but yeah, fair enough. You want to keep it anonymous, yeah?
The anonymous people, we know who you are.
Right, Dylan, social media minute. So, Jack created a hashtag last week. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was... Yeah, we'll just check that later. But so, do you have a hashtag to put on your post later?
I have a hashtag that I do have quite in mind, which is Strive for Greatness. Yeah, I think that they're a company, they're actually a social media brand as well, Strive for Greatness. Do great work. What they do is really inspiring, you know. They put out the message that you can do what you are able to do. Like what you put your mind to is what you can do. Like don't let little things hold you back. Like as it says, strive for greatness.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, similar to that, like, the quote of a podcast is push yourself because no one is going to do it for you. And your hashtag sort of relates to that as well.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to push yourself, obviously, to achieve goals and stuff.
Yeah, I think both of them are really good quotes. Pushing yourself because no one is going to do it for you it just says it all. In life, essentially nobody does things for you. You have to make things happen. People are going to be there for you, but they're not going to help you get there. Like what I've seen a post or like a quote where it says, the support you get at the start when you're not doing great is like a couple of people, but when you succeed, everybody's going to want to know you. But you've got to remember who was there for you versus the people that are going to be there for you when you succeed.
Well said, mate. Well said. So obviously the NBA is back.
Yes.
And I just wanted to know your opinion right now. So, like, obviously you're a massive Houston Rockets fan, and you guys won in overtime. So, talk me through that a little bit.
I am as you said, I am quite a big Houston Rockets supporter. With their recent movement to small ball basketball, where all their players, their tallest player is about our center, is 6'5".
What?
I think the move they made for that is quite interesting. I don't know how it's going to go. We've been winning. We haven't lost a game in the bubble yet, from what I'm knowledged on. I think the more pressing issue around the NBA right now is the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think that whole area is very important. The way the NBA is publicizing it and showing it is fantastic. They're doing a really great movement, a really great job of that, with how they've allowed players to put their own quotes on the back of their jerseys, say her name, Breonna Taylor's name on the back. It's really great with what they've done with the court as well, putting the hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
really great job of politicizing it.
Yeah. So speaking about your center, you said he's 6'5". So is he the tallest in the starting five, or he's like not the tallest because he's only
He's
6'5"?
He's not the tallest.
So
And I'm
is
not sure.
James Harden taller than him?
I think James Harden is 6'4", 6'6". I'm
Oh,
personally not at the moment in time, but we compared to the average center in the NBA, it stands about 7'6", 11". So we're at quite a disadvantage. But where the Houston Rockets thrive is in transition basketball. Because of the player sizes, we're a lot more agile and quick. And as a team that predominantly shoots the three ball, we have a high percentage by having a smaller guy who is more nurtured for the 3-point shot compared to your average NBA center.
Yeah. So obviously, I go for Philadelphia. Today we lost to Indiana. So
TJ Warren.
oh, I don't know, mate. So do you reckon my team is going to make the playoffs?
Look, both Houston and Philadelphia will make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they both have as well. It just determines how far they will go. Right now in the East, the best two chances right now are 100%. Unfortunately, not Philadelphia, but the Milwaukee Bucks and Raptors.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think Philadelphia, what they need to do is they just need to make it to the conference finals this year. Because last year they dropped out at the semis, but
we lost to Toronto, mate.
lost to Toronto. And look, I think the biggest challenge for you guys will be just getting past the second round and getting into the semifinals. For Houston, I personally don't believe that they're going to go very far. They've got in the West. There's some really good teams. You got the Clippers and you have
Lakers,
LA.
Yeah.
But then you've also got other teams like the Jazz, like Memphis, and somebody like OKC, which are a really good young core, who they're playing really well. They're the 5th seed above us, and the point guard we traded away, of course, is now there, Chris Paul. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season with how they play. With all the new rules and legislations, how everybody's had more time to actually train and get themselves back into a fitter shape almost with the quarantine period.
Yeah, so we're obviously in Australia, so there's a few NBA players in Australia. Probably just rank the top 3 of all time that like you kind of look up to.
I think top 3 NBA players. Like, are we talking current or all time?
Oh, just all time, mate. Aussie NBA players.
Aussie NBA players. Okay, for me personally, at number 3, Longley. He played with Michael Jordan. He won a couple of rings.
Yeah.
In second,
It's tough, mate.
I'm gonna have to put Patty Mills. He's actually really.
Yeah.
He went pretty late in the draft. He went about 54th or 55th. Went to the Spurs. He won a championship. He's a really good emphasis of determination.
That's true.
Yeah.
100%.
And number 1, the man that shares the same birthday as me, Ben Simmons.
Really? I did not know that, man.
He has the same birthday as me. So I think Ben's just a really inspiring player. You know, he's...
Yeah, I agree.
He was brought up here, moved to America. He's a tall point guard. Well, actually power forward currently.
Yeah, power forward.
Has a great passing ability, can slash. He's appraised by a lot of players, such as LeBron himself. And with this new 3-point shot he's developing, he could be a very lethal, deadly player. And I think he has a great future ahead of him in the league.
Yeah, hopefully he's a Hall of Famer one day, mate.
Hopefully.
Moving on, we talked a bit about the NBA for a fair while. So have you got any advice or resources, tools or anything that would benefit the listeners, mate?
Look, honestly, I wouldn't be too sure. I think for that, you need to talk more to... I'm not very knowledgeable on the task. For me, I've been a very self-driven person. So the way I've done it is I've gone out there and done it myself. I've studied clips from different NBA players and I've watched what they've done and I've used that into my own sort of game. So I've watched their footwork and I've incorporated that into my game. So some of the people that I like would watch and sort of imitate moves off was Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant with their post moves. The way their footwork was and the way they created shot space is just phenomenal.
Yeah, two great players, mate.
For students to find resources, I think you need to talk more to. Well, you should go on Instagram and look at different influencers for sports or whatever you're interested in, and sort of find what they use. Or you can for sports, your teachers at schools can really help. Like at our school with our athlete development program that Jerry and I are both in, our teacher, our coordinator helped me just a lot, like with little different training programs and all that. He really helped me as an athlete to excel to a different extent to where I was previously at.
So moving on. We've been to a few camps. Probably you in primary school, you've been to a fair few. Also high school, like many different camps. So yeah, I've got a few stories, but I want to know if you have any stories. It doesn't have to be spooky, but like just funny, just anything, mate.
I don't really know if I have too many. Personally, I'm not a person that has too many like crazy little stories of like camps. Actually, never mind. In year seven camp, we're walking back to our house, our like cabin.
Dylan, I think I might know where you're going, mate.
After we had dinner, and I'm walking, and everybody's just stopped, and I'm walking to the door, and I'm like, why is everybody stopped? And now we're looking on the door, and there's probably 3 possums latched onto it.
Yeah.
And then we didn't know what to do. We're puzzled. So somebody went to grab the bin to whack it on the door, and they put their hand onto the bin, and another possum just shot out, and he's thrown it at the possums. But they've come after us, and we've just had to bolt. But like, that's probably the most crazy like story I really have. I haven't had too many others, but that's just vividly stuck in my head. We were terrified.
Fuck yeah.
We were probably stuck outside for a good hour trying to figure out what we were going to do.
Yeah, it was pretty late at night as well, like probably 8, 9 o'clock. Yeah, something like that.
Probably 10.
Yeah.
By the time, probably 10:30.
Fuck, oh. I don't know who saw it first, but like, yeah, it wasn't the best experience.
They weren't like small possums either. They were decent sized little round balls of fluff that could tear us to.
They were close to like 1 meter, and they were like big, like fuck. Who knows how big? Yeah.
Hey, we were all like 5'1" at that point.
I think I was 4 foot, mate.
4 foot, Jerry, the 4 foot monster.
Yeah, but I've got a story from that camp as well. So, Dylan, do you remember the giant swing?
Oh, I do remember the giant swing.
Yeah, there was the red zone, like where you don't go very high. The yellow one where you go medium, and green obviously where you go the highest. So I chose the green one because, I want to be a daredevil, you know.
I want to be a daredevil.
Yeah. And so we're at the highest point, and I look down here, and then like, not far away from our camp, there's a bloody graveyard next to the camp. So like, we drove into it and we saw it, but like, when you're in the giant swing, that's not what you want to be looking at. So like, I was a bit puzzled, and I'm like, this camp's cursed. That's my assumption, mate.
I remembered. I was in your group. I wasn't looking. I was talking to a bunch of people, and I remember you went. And I've never heard Jerry scream so loud in my life.
Oh, mate, what?
A wail of a scream. You just went, and I was like, oh. turned around and you lost it, mate. You just lost it. You saw the graveyard, you went, and you just lost it.
Oh, did I just start screaming and shit?
You were screaming.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, then I probably spoke a bit. I spoke a long time about the graveyard straight after.
Graveyard.
Yeah.
Stuff we heard about you in that graveyard.
Nah, like, it was kind of shit, yeah. Like, why would a graveyard be next to a campsite? That's the most stupidest thing. Like,
Mate, don't ask me.
yeah, you know what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, alright, we'll move on. So you obviously play many sports such as footy, we played together, basketball, and obviously you go to school, we all go to school. So talk us through your preparation for basketball, footy, and school.
For basketball, the night before, this is kind of weird, I'll usually go onto the stats and check out different players. So I'm looking at it like, what's he doing? Okay, he's scoring a lot of points. What's this guy doing? Okay, he's foul trouble. So he's going to reach. So I'm going to do this and that. I analyze which players I'm going up against currently. And then I sort of look around and I see what little areas I can take advantage of and who I need to play like good defense on. Then that morning, usually I would have work. So I'd have to go to work, get back, have a hot shower, just relax myself, get my foam roller, just stretch out and stuff, get like nice and loose. Then I put my headphones in, listen to music, and maybe like a motivational speak by somebody as we head out to the game. Get to the game, do a couple more stretches, warm up, and then go into the game. As for footy, I didn't actually have a preparation for footy.
Oh, mate.
I just kind of went in there. Usually I'd go for the lap, stretch out, line up a couple of set shot goals, and then we win the game. I never really thought about that for footy. For school, I wake up nice and early.
What
7
time?
o'clock.
Oh, yeah, 7's all right.
Hop in a shower for about a good 10 minutes, wash my hair and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go out, have breakfast. If my nephew's over, look after him a little bit. Then I'll just pack my bag, get dressed, sort a couple of maybe assignments that I have to hand in that morning. And then I walk to school, which is about a half an hour walk.
Yeah.
Nice and good on the legs. And then I'm at school for most of the day. Then walk back home.
Yeah, so you seem like a pretty well-prepared person.
Sometimes.
I'm a bit of the same, so in footy, Dad's like, it's better to be early than late, so just try. Yeah, there was one season, the year we won the premiership, I was always the first one to get there, and that's why I got the coach's award, because I was always there, like, the first one.
Yeah, he always was there about good hour to a half early.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, God. Didn't benefit me at all that year, because I played pretty shit in the premiership year.
We won, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I kicked the last goal. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that game quite vividly. I was playing in the back line. We really didn't allow them to get anything down there. But they had that... Oh, Jez, do you remember that big burly kid they had?
Yeah.
What was his name? He was Mate, he would have been a good 100 kg at that point.
Bro, I thought my cousin was big, and then I looked at him, and I'm like, Stubble was the size of my cousin. Fucking hell.
Yeah, your cousin was big, but this guy was about 4 times his size. And
oh, mate.
He was a nightmare. It took 4 of us just to get him down to the ground.
So, was he playing the forward line? Because I think...
No, he was playing in the midfield sometimes.
I swear he was playing on Seb as well, in the defence.
Look, he was a big bloke, but he had some great stamina for a boy his size. Like, he was playing most minutes of that game, and I was quite surprised.
Yeah, that's true. Oh. what was I going to say again? A few weeks ago, I looked at the highlights. It's on the club's Facebook, and there's only 2 minutes of it, and I'm like, come on. So I click through it, and the first highlight is me going back with the fly. Oh, beautiful mark, kick it to Seb, and he kicks the first goal of the game. So I'm like, I played my part.
You played your part. That's all that matters, mate.
And we have a premiership to show for that as well.
Shouldn't have dropped us that one division because it was a bit too easy.
Yeah,
no,
true.
but I think that season was when we sort of realised, what are we doing down here? We're not bad. We just kicked into gear. We were like, no, we're gonna stick our heads down and we're gonna train, and we're just gonna go at them every single game. We're gonna win this. And lo and behold, we did.
Yeah, some kids couldn't even kick. Some kids in our team, or like in other teams, mate, couldn't even kick for me.
Mate, they were spraying it, but the difference was we were spraying it as well. They were spraying it, but we had determination. And that at the end of the day, that's what made the difference.
Yeah, I remember we played Glen Orden. Do you remember that team? They had like low numbers and shit.
Oh.
And they kept on throwing the ball, and like, come on, you're playing AFL footy. Surely you know the basics like handballing and kicking.
Yeah, no, that was a disappointment game. That was a 100-point blowout by us.
Every week was a 100-game blowout, to be honest.
Oh no, there was St. Bernard. We did have a tough time with Bernards. We would only beat them by maybe
30
points, and then when they came up with us the next season, it didn't matter. The first game back, we beat them by. Actually, I have a photo. We beat them by a ridiculous amount. We beat them by something.
We were playing at home, I think.
We definitely were. We smacked them up. What was it? It was 14 to 135.
Oh, I remember you took a picture that day, I think, and that's why you still have it.
That's why I still have it. We just kicked them like good days. Didn't like them much.
Yeah. Not a big fan of them.
Nobody is.
No, yeah, but I reckon we play our best footy against them, to be honest.
I reckon we do as well. Unfortunate that the season has been postponed or suspended.
Done. I think it's over, man. I
think, for me personally, I'm not sure if I'll even play if the next season comes around.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
That's the problem, so I might as well play a couple of games, but I'd rather focus on other things such as basketball.
Yeah, for me next year, probably try a different sport, maybe basketball, obviously, some tennis, and also like find a job and shit, you know.
That's the way, mate. That's the way.
Yeah, that's the way. Footy, I had a good run, and I think it's time to hang up the boots now because of,
I think football, you get to a certain point where you either go, I'm good enough to go professional or semi-professional, or you look at it and go, it's not for me anymore. I'm not going to continue this if it's not going to give me a future at anything.
That's true, yeah.
I just want to play it for fun. But this is like the critical age. A lot of people drop off at this point, and a lot of people stay, and a lot of people have success. But some of those people, you know, they focus so heavily on sport and football that they don't have a backup plan. And I think that's what you really have to understand. As an athlete such as myself, I want to go professional in basketball. But I understand injuries or me not being as great as other players can affect a lot. So you've always got to have something in mind. So I have an academical path I'm already taking.
You're doing really well at school, mate. Yep.
Yeah. You just got to always have that backup plan, because you never know. An injury could happen. You could be the top #1 player in Australia for football, and then next minute you break something and you drop to maybe 50, or you could just end.
So Dylan, like you mentioned like 2 seconds ago, you've had lots of injuries. So maybe tell the viewers some of the injuries you've had over your career.
So I've broken my left wrist twice. I split it the first time just in here. and then the second time further up here. I also broke this wrist right there.
Yep.
I broke, which thumb was it? It was this thumb. I broken this thumb twice.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was the start of the season and I broke it.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years. So I broke it the first time playing footy. And then I had to sit for 6 weeks or maybe 2 months. Then the second time I broke it was also playing footy.
Mm-hmm.
And the ligaments in my thumb, 3 of them, just all ripped off the bone. So I had to do rehab for that. Wasn't fun. But that injury was the point in time where I was like, maybe it's time to move on, try something else.
Yeah.
Because I keep getting injured. My body's not going to be able to sustain it. It's just going to shit. So I took up basketball. I've found that I'm pretty okay at it. And yeah.
The rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
No, but I feel sorry for you with your injuries, mate. Like, you don't deserve that shit, and like, yeah, hopefully your run with injuries comes to an end, like, soon. Yeah.
Well, I remember every year that I had broken something, I was a top 5 contender for best and fairest. And one year I was sitting in second place.
What year was that? 18, I think.
It would have been my last year, so 2018. Yeah. I was sitting in second place, first place for goals, and second place in best and fairest placement. For club, it was first. League, it was second. And then I had a season-ending injury with my thumb. I was playing forward line that year, and then my first game back was the semi-finals. And they placed me in the midfield, and I was very unfit. I wasn't doing well. And then next thing I knew, the kid's come over the back of my head with an elbow and knocked me out. And I was like,
yeah, I remember
that. In the season.
Was that against Werribee, mate?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember kicking the first goal of the game, and I'm like, we're going to fucking win this. And then, nah. And I remember, oh, God. Like, I remember Seb, he was put in the midfield, but I reckon he should have played in a forward line because Bodie had like a injured back and he couldn't do much in the forward line. So, yeah, it was a bit. It wasn't their fault, but like the positioning was a bit off that day as well.
Yeah, they had placed Sebastian Isolani and myself.
You guys were on ball with me.
Yeah, we were on ball with you and Lockie.
Yeah.
And Seb was a forward line, like a very predominant forward line player. He is a phenomenal player, phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, shout out to Seb.
He's a great player. But at that point in time, Seb wasn't as cultured to the midfield as per se the rest of us.
Yeah, so totally agree.
Seb was struggling a little bit. Myself, I was struggling so much. It was my first game back, and I was unfit. So I think...
We ran out of gas.
We ran out of gas that season. There was a lot of injuries around the whole team, and it was just unfortunate.
Yeah. Have you played 100 games? I think you were close, or like might have.
Close. I think I was close, but all the injuries cut it out. A lot of it.
Yeah, I'm like the complete opposite to you, mate. I've missed one game in my career. Oh.
Jerry's missed one game, and I've missed about 2 seasons worth of games.
Mate. We'll move on. So, do you have any funny jokes or stories to tell the viewers?
Funny jokes or stories? Probably I don't know. I probably do. But at this point in time, I wouldn't even know myself. Like, the possum one's the...
A possum one, yeah. Can't lie.
Possum.
What about a school, though? Surely...
There's got to be something.
Yeah, I know. Something in the back of my head, but I just can't remember.
Funny story, but it's kind of an ironic story. I've accidentally moved the basketball ring on our main basketball court ever so slightly to the right from...
Which one's that? Ring. The big ones, or...?
big one, the normal ones. So the ones that are on the main court, the ones
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
I
end.
got you. Yeah.
So I've accidentally kind of moved the ring to the right from dunking and just grabbing the ring in general. The teachers haven't found out yet. Everybody else has, and I'm in a bit of trouble. Everyone else, they're not too pleased.
Oh mate,
Not
were
my
you trying to
fault.
dunk or?
Well, I don't think it was all me because I didn't weigh that much at that point, and there was people that were heavier than me that were pulling the ring as well. So, no, I had done a couple of dunks on it, and that's why I think it moved because I grabbed the ring a lot harder after I've dunked. So I think I've moved the ring that way. That's why.
Yeah. We're gonna speak about events now. So let me have a think. We'll do personal events and also sporting. So let's talk about the premiership because we've been talking about it a fair bit. And yeah. Do you remember much about the day, like leading up to it? Were you like super nervous or like hyped or anything?
Honestly, at that point, I wasn't as. This might come as a shock to some people that are listening, if you know me. But I wasn't always very interested in playing football. When the mornings where we'd have to drive out, I would quite often question my parents, like, "Do I have to play? I don't want to play." When I got to the field, though, I enjoyed it. I was having fun. But on the build up to it, I was with a couple of people at school, and I was just like, "No, we're going to win this. We're going to smash them." I know who the team is. This Tarnate team isn't good, but yeah, I just remember the day being quite windy before tip off, and I was like, "This is going to sway the game out of balance a lot." But one thing led to another. The wind cleared up, and it was just hot. The ground was very rough
Yeah, it was
and hard.
chewy.
But yeah, I just remember that feeling of watching the clock tick down after I remember I kicked it from gosh knows where, probably the center square, and I just gave it my all because I wasn't letting it come back down.
Uh-huh.
And I nearly kicked the goal. And I just remember that feeling of hearing that siren and just being so pleased, like the dream season was completed. We
What did you
won.
do, mate? Did you run and hug
I,
everyone or?
I ran, I jumped, I fist bumped the air. I was on the ground. I think who was playing was Liam Sherman playing that year.
Yeah, he was, mate.
Was he?
Yeah.
I ran to him, tackled him. We were on the ground. We were just ecstatic. It was just a great season. Credit to the coaching staff for that. They did so much for us.
Brendan's a legend.
They sacrificed that summer before the season started. They sacrificed so much. We were training.
We had a hard pre-season. I can't remember, but we started in like December.
We started in December. 3-hour training sessions. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we were the first sort of like, what were we, under 12s at that point, or under 13s?
Yeah, under 12s, yeah.
We were the first like group of them that actually started 3-session trainings a week, and we were just to build us up and get better.
Yeah, I'll never forget this, but my recount of like the final moments of the grand final is I was on a bench here because I didn't play well that season, so just all the rotations and shit, yeah? And Brendan's like, "Oh, Jerry, mate, we've won the grand final. Have a run, mate." And then the ball's in our forward line. I go straight into the thing. I'm like, "Bodie, tap it backwards, mate." He taps it backwards. Left foot snap. That was the last goal of the game. So,
I remember I had a ridiculous amount of interceptions that game.
Yeah, I've seen the highlights, mate. Rebound off defense and shit.
It was a great year that year for me as a football fan and player. My team won the premiership. We won a premiership. Life was good.
Yeah, so let's move on. Recommendate a famous sporting moment. Do you have any in mind, or do you want me to give you one?
I can't re-commentate it, but I remember
You can recall it as well, yeah.
it was the Bulldogs, and it's 2016.
Yeah.
Grand finals against the Swan. Oh, I can't think of his name.
Just what number? Like,
I was Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd.
yeah, Matthew Boyd. Yeah, great player.
We'd just gotten a tackle on Buddy Franklin, and he spilled the ball out. Matthew Boyd is at the centre square. He's running to the edge of it. He boots it from 60.
Oh, you mean Tom Boyd, not Matthew Boyd.
Tom Boyd.
There were two Boyds. So yeah.
It was a while ago, guys. Leave me alone. So he's running. He boots it from 60, and it just goes straight through to seal the game. And it was fantastic. And I remember the scores that game that we had were the exact same to the previous game in the semis against GWS. And that was just like that day, both of those days, we were struggling against GWS. We came back, we fought hard, and we beat them. And then the Swannies game just sort of had that realization going in. I think it was at halftime where I was like, no, the doggies are going to win.
So, did you watch it from home?
I watched it from a bowls club because my parents couldn't get tickets, and I didn't really care about it.
Fair enough.
But we were at a bowls club with our coach, Luke Hopman.
Oh, shout out to him.
Shout out to Luke. And we're watching it, and by third quarter time, at halftime I knew we were going to win. At third quarter time, I was like 100%, like we'd won. And we were celebrating at 3/4 time, like the fourth quarter, the other 20 minutes or half an hour hadn't even started, but we knew we'd won.
Yeah, so for me, I was at the game. I was very lucky. The fucking AFL gave me tickets, so shout out to them.
Can we just someday on one of your podcasts or something, you've got to show the old footy clips, Jezza.
There's going to be a podcast on me, someone interviewing me one day.
Oh, that's good. Those were the good old days. Everybody was watching TV. I mean, we'd see this AFL ad come up, and we're like, oh, it's Jerry. Jerry down at the Roos. Good old days, mate.
Yeah, good old days. Oh. Yeah, just footy has changed our lives massively.
But I think when people say sports doesn't affect your lives, it does. It heavily affects you.
100%.
Jerry and I would never have met each other if it wasn't for footy.
Yeah, we met in under 11s and been good mates ever since.
I was discussing with Jerry, what high school are you going to? He's like, Mount Alexander College. I'm like, the same. And then our friendship just continued from there.
Yeah, it's always been a pretty good friendship, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll move on. Is it true that we said about this earlier, you can dunk on the school basketball hoops?
Yes, I can. A lot of people doubt that I can. It's like one of those things, you have to be really locked in. And I'm not saying I can dunk very often. I can dunk sometimes. Yeah. But for everybody that was there, I don't know who's listening to this, but for the year 11s and 12s that were there, who watched me, I went up and I did a tomahawk on a double ring, and that was just a great feeling. But and I was like probably 6 foot at that point. And I was just dunked. I was like the most ecstatic person you'll ever see. I was running up to my friends. I was so gassed. But the first time I actually ever dunked was the very first day of the year on January 1st.
It came to school. Oh.
No, Kobe Hellu, my very good friend, somebody that I think of as a family member, threw me a lob whilst we were at a basketball court in Point Cook out Werribee Way. He threw me a lob and I just dunked it, and I was like 5'10" at that point, and I was just as a 15-year-old, because I haven't dunked as a 16-year-old yet. My first dunk was at 15, and I was like, that's quite a surreal feeling, because a lot of like people that you see dunking, like Russell Westbrook, he didn't dunk until he was probably 17, 18 or something like that. Like it's crazy to think. It's just another thing I can flex, that I can dunk, and all the friends can't.
You kind of have to see it to believe it, because I've seen it, and yeah, fuck, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
I named the podcast D-Sanity because I reckon
Sanity.
your dunks are kind of like Vince Carter. Like, there's some sort of like crowd like thing that like comes with it. You know what I mean? I've seen you dunk, like everyone goes crazy and shit. So
yeah. When you put that nickname, I was like, oh, that's a really good nickname. I've never thought of that. And I was like, oh, they just banged it on that one. But yeah, nah. Every time I've gone for a dunk, this is credit to our school community and
yeah,
all my mates, people that aren't my mates but are friendly with me. There's always such a wanted feeling, like you're wanted to be there. You're not wanted to be pushed away. They want you to come. They want to surround you. And it's just like hype. Every time somebody goes up for a dunk, it doesn't matter who you are. Just like you go up for a dunk, even if you miss, like people are still supportive of you. But I remember when it was a bit different for me because there is that stereotype that white people can't jump.
that's bullshit. Because Dylan got hops.
Yes, sir. And I went up and I dunked it, and it was just like crazy, the reaction. Or like even when I grabbed the ring, and there's like new people, they're just like people just go like crazy.
Yeah, fucking hell, mate. That's why, mate. Your new nickname started from me, D-Sanity. All right. If it becomes like famous or anything, shout me out. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good nickname. I have a Vince Carter jersey as well, so I was like, Vince Carter is somebody I look up to, like what he's done.
Yeah, just tell the viewers like who don't know who he is a bit about him.
Yeah, so Vince Carter, he was drafted in 1999, and he's played through what 3 decades
years.
above.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's in his 22nd season. His final season is over now because of the quarantine break.
Yeah.
But he essentially revolutionized basketball in
Canada.
Toronto. Canada, when the Toronto Raptors were first made, had not a big following. They were very just hockey. And Vince changed all of that when he came. He started bringing a different sort of vibe and era. He took them to the finals in the East, and he just did a lot for basketball over there.
Yeah, and Iverson, yeah, they won that game, Philadelphia that day.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that game where he misses the 3-point shot.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if it wasn't for Vince, there's a lot of NBA players that are Canadian,
look up to him as
such
well.
as so NBA players from Canada. A lot of them wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Vince. So you've got people like Tristan Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a leading candidate for most improved player. If it wasn't for Vince, who knows? He did a lot for the game and basketball as a whole.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. We'll move on. So, what's your favorite book and why?
Favorite book? No, personally, I haven't read a book in a while. I'd have to say the Robert Murphy book. It showed me a lot of what it takes to be a professional athlete in an environment and what it's like to grow up and sort of fight through controversy and sort of just excel yourself and believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then why should others believe in you?
That's a really good quote, mate.
If you're saying, "No, I can't do this," then they're going to instantly go, "Well, if he thinks he can't do it, then he can't do it." That's just simple, plain analysis.
Facts,
So,
bro.
yeah,
It's also like, go.
It just shows that it's about the grind and how much effort you put in. If you're putting in 90% effort, it's not going to get the job done. You got to put 100% in, day out, for you to achieve your goals.
Yeah, what I was going to say is it's also kind of like reading these books, it helps you with school as well, because like we're heading into the pointy end, mate, year 11 and 12. Picking our subjects tomorrow, like the coming week, and there's mates of ours, yeah. I reckon both of us have mates like this. They're like, oh, I can't do it, it's too hard, or like VC or VCAL, whatever they want to do. It's like, oh, like it's just like right now they're there and they want to be there, and it's too hard. But like I say to them, like take baby steps, or like just take your time, mate, and like build towards it, not just expect it to come like the day after, because you have to work for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have a couple of mates, and
Yeah, so
look, they choose what they want to choose, but for the ones that chose what they chose, like a couple of them are not the strongest at certain things. They don't want to take exams, so they took VCAL, and I was like, "There's nothing wrong with VCAL. It's just a
exactly,
different."
exactly.
With VCAL, you essentially go into a job full time quicker than we would. So for a student that does VCE, all they're doing is they have a further, more like they have
Yeah,
a better chance of going into university compared to somebody who has VCAL who's going more here and is going into more of a trade. So like say like a bricklayer or a
yeah,
carpenter. They're getting a job earlier on before the rest of us are. That's essentially what it is. One is more dictated for
hands on.
university.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, and like I reckon people like self belief and they feel ashamed if they're doing VCAL, but it's just not about that, you know. Like, because it's
Yeah,
what you
it's
want to
not.
do,
It's
and yeah, as long as you're earning money and stuff and paying bills and also
yeah,
enjoying it, that's the main thing. To be fair.
yeah. It's like if the VCE curriculum doesn't interest you, then there's no problem in going to VCAL because VCAL. Look, there's a lot of people that prosper off VCAL.
Yeah, they
There's
earn more and shit.
They have a different pathway setting. So there's things in VCAL that you're able to do that send you to a different pathway that VCE can't take you, but VCE takes you a different way to say VCAL. That's the only difference.
Yeah. So speaking about VC, what do you want to do when you finish high school? Like, obviously play basketball at professional level, but like in terms of like even after like a basketball career or something.
Yeah. I haven't really thought. I'd be kind of interested in maybe doing something with animals, maybe something like zoology or marine biology.
Yeah.
Maybe something with human bodies like sports science.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
really interesting, man.
Even like doing something like even whilst I'm studying, even doing like social work, like active right movements and like
And
both
like
for the environment,
volunteering.
like volunteer work for like the environmental stuff, like justice for like different little things such as well, like different broad, like very heavily needed to be talked on subjects such as like Black Lives Matter movement,
Yeah,
like just
for
following
sure, man.
like that.
Um, yeah. So, which object do you have that holds sentimental value?
I have a Scottish flag. So my background, my ethnic background is Scottish and Welsh. And I've learned a lot from both my grandma and grandpa. Rest in peace to
Hmm.
my grandfather.
Yeah. Rip.
My grandma and grandpa really taught me a lot. Like they came from very humble beginnings in Scotland and Wales. They met by chance. My grandfather fought in the war. He was a secret agent in the United Kingdom's military.
Was that World War Two? Yeah.
So they've been through like some of the toughest times in their lives. They left their country. They took a boat from Scotland where they were living all the way down to here in Melbourne, Australia, and started a brand new life. And the flag just helps me remember where my family is from and like the hardships they went through for me to have a better life here in Australia.
Yeah. Probably for me. Yeah, just probably living in Australia, mate. Because I'm obviously born here, but my family came from East Timor, which if you didn't know, Indonesia like took over our country in 1975, and it wasn't until 1999, which is like 20 years ago, yeah, that we became independent. So they fled when it was pretty like controlled by them and war torn. So yeah, pretty similar circumstances, mate.
Yeah.
So you spoke about Fetty Wap before. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite song of his, or like favorite song of all time, and why?
I have a favorite song of his. For me, I just like his music personally. It's just like that being able to look back in time because he was very popular back in like better years such as
Primary school.
2016, like primary school years. But his music is just I don't know. There's something about it. It's just really hype for me. I enjoy it a lot. Some
Yeah,
people they might, some people are into new stuff. That's just it. Like, I just prefer him as a whole.
So, which song would you prefer, 679 or Trap Queen?
Oh, Jerry coming in with the heat right there. 679, 679. I prefer that song. Trap Queen, I
Yeah,
like. It depends. I prefer 679. That's just like everybody knows that song. That's just a song everybody vibes to.
fair enough. Yeah,
Trap,
totally agree.
trap Queen, like I'll listen to before a game though.
So a bit of both, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine would be Hall of Fame. You probably heard last episode. You can't hate the song, mate. Like, if you hate the song, what's wrong with you, man? Come on.
Yeah, that's just like an OG song. Everybody like, if you despise that song, like then you just hated that in your childhood, and that's just like
Yeah,
everybody listened to that when they were younger. If you listen to a song when you were younger, then why are you gonna hate it now?
yeah,
Like
true.
certain songs, like Taylor Swift songs, are a bit different. Like that most people listen to her. Like that's something that we can all move on because of her, who she is. She's a bit of a
Yeah,
nut job.
true. So who motivates you the most and why?
Um, have three motivators. Well, four.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Number one being Kobe Bryant. May he rest in peace as well.
yeah.
A
Rest in
very
peace.
a very awe-inspiring person with his work ethic. The way he was able to grind with his father being an NBA player, he knew what it would have to take, but he worked his ass off, man, day in, day out. He started his day at like 3 a.m. That's when his day started, and his day finished at maybe 10. So he's getting 5 hours sleep, but he is a machine.
Yeah,
And nobody can take away from his legacy. The things he did for the city of Los Angeles and the club franchise is amazing. Um, Another person would be, another motivator of mine would be probably my grandfather. He just wanted to sort of inspire me to be great, to do what I wanted. Every day I live and breathe is for him. Anything I do is for him. For me to succeed, that's for him. For me to go professional in the sport, that's for him.
good on you.
My third would be Hakeem Olajuwon. He came from very humble beginnings as well. He's a Muslim NBA player. He played for the Houston Rockets. He won 2 championships there, but not everything was always easy for him. He versed a lot of racial bias. He would fast. He fasted during the NBA games, and just to be able to do that and his willpower to succeed is amazing. And fourth is my friends. I want to succeed alongside them. I want to be great alongside them. I want everybody to prosper. I just want them to see me succeed, and I want to see them succeed. I just want everybody to have a bright future, and all of us just to be able to live out our dreams.
100%, 100%. Yeah, for me, I'll probably have a fair few, but I'll just quickly name them. So one is family and friends, like you said, because we're all different, but like we all have one goal in life, and it's different to others, which is unique. Basketball, Allen Iverson, mate. Like I didn't like basketball till about probably like mid this year. Just looked at a few highlights, watched The Last Dance, checked Allen Iverson highlights, and I was straight away motivated by him because 6 foot, best pound for pound player ever in the NBA, and yeah, just like carrying Philadelphia even though it was so tiny. Probably Roger Federer, mate. He's 40 and he's still playing tennis. Like props to him.
Yes.
Footy, Brent Harvey, Drew Petrie, just to name a few. And Jamie Vardy for Leicester City. He came from 9th league, mate. And favourite book, Jamie Vardy. Mate, 9th league football, and he made the Premier League when he was 26. So that's pretty motivational for people who dream to get there, and it shows you can get there no matter number one pick or from the 9th league. You know what I mean?
I think the main thing is everybody comes from a humble beginning. You make yourself out of what you do, provide, and are able to do. Nobody makes yourself. You make yourself. The way you're shaped is around the people you hang around with. So if you're hanging out with a bad influence or something, what do you think that's going to get you further in life? what do you think they're going to do for you in the future? Like you have
100%,
to,
dude. Yeah.
you have to think about these things in life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for both of us, like, yeah, we're teenagers, yeah, and like when you're a teenager, you get influenced by like different people and stuff, and it may not be good, but like I feel like both of us have like succeeded at school and stuff because we hang around the like right people, you know, that like don't influence us badly or like influence us in a positive way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just who you surround yourself with is so important in this world. You know, you could hang around with somebody that could just end up backstabbing you, promise you all these things in the world, but like they're not going to do anything at the end of the day.
yeah, 100%, man. So you can ask me one question since I've been asking you plenty. So fire away.
Um, what are your dreams and aspirations in life? Like, where do you want to see yourself? Maybe after you graduate high school and all that. That's what I'm interested in.
Oh, yep. Similar to Jack's. So, you know, when I was little, I was always interested in like commentary and all that. And like this year, kind of like I watched this podcast called Dylan Friends. Shout out to Dylan Buckley.
Very good podcast.
Yeah, good podcast. So I was inspired to run this, mate. And I think it's getting a bit of attention, Jez and Friends, which is good. Yeah, so I want to get somewhere in life by like doing something I love, which is, I think I found it now, and that's sports media. So I'm going to try really hard, like not too hard in VC because I don't need an ATAR for the course I want to do. So the course I want to do is like a diploma in sports media. It's at Swinburne, so no ATAR needed for diplomas. So I'll try and do that after I finish. Then you can go into further study, which is good about a diploma, or you can find a job. So I'll try and do that. And also continue to play sports throughout my life because that's what brought me into the passion itself, sports, like, obviously. So just stay healthy, like, throughout my life and just, like, need to, like, if I go through tough times, just know where I came from and shit, you know?
Exactly. That's the way. That's the way.
That's the way, mate. So, Dylan, do you have anyone you'd recommend for the show?
Do I have anyone I recommend for the show? Personally, I would recommend Eamon Combo
Yeah.
or with the things they're doing with music, the way they're inspired. What they're doing with music is just crazy. Like the inspiration they've been doing, they've been working hard. Kobe's entering competitions. They're just making really nice stuff. Somebody else I would recommend. I would reckon you should interview Yuan. He's come from a lot of places. He lived in the Philippines for most of his life. And then he transferred over to Australia for his parents' work, and shortly he's leaving for Japan at the end of this year. So just to get his intake on all that, I think that would be a really good interview right there. And maybe some of the other boys on the footy team and what they've been getting up to.
Cool. So yeah. So please request who you want me to speak to next via DMs at Jez and Friends on Insta. Thanks for tuning into the Jez and Friends podcast. Remember, push yourself because no one is going to do it for you. And thank you so much for your time, Dylan.
Welcome, Jez.
Oh,
Anytime.
cheers, mate. Now I need to